Welcome, everybody, to Get the Word Out with Project Next. I'm Sarah Blessing. Today, I'm joined by someone who has spent her career protecting both Hoosier families and Hoosier tax dollars, fighting waste, fraud, and abuse while making sure help gets to the people who truly need it. Please welcome Pepper Snyder, candidate for Indiana Statehouse.
Yay.
Pepper is no stranger to public service or politics, and she's part of a well-known Indiana duo married to Gary Snyder, the voice behind the SnydeReport and Indiana Talks Network. But today we will learn more about her vision. Why is she running? What keeps her up at night about the future of Indiana? How do we get this state back on track for working families? And Pepper, thank you so much for joining me and us. And how are you today, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a pretty relaxing day. My grandkids had a school day still, or a state school
e-learning day.
Yeah. And so I didn't have to babysit my toddler granddaughter this morning. So
you have the opposite. So you didn't have kids, and I have 4. I have 3 children, but I have 4 over here doing e-learning. So that's funny.
Yep. We have one left. She's 17, and she's in high school, but they didn't cancel today. So she was there bright and early at 7:45.
I kind of feel like we're going to miss all week here. We got about 9 inches, but it's just so cold and it's so hilly down here that it's a little dangerous for buses to go in those places. So I think that's why we've been out 4 days. Props to all the teachers doing the extra hard work of e-learning.
Right.
Yeah. My kids are cute. My little 7-year-old sitting at the computer raising their hand, and then they turn on their mic, and then they're like 76, and then they turn it off. I'm like, that's cute. So Pepper, I know your husband, Gary. He invited me to put Project Next on his radio show. So every day from 6 to 7, Project Next puts an episode out. Yours is going to be on tonight. And then he also I consider him a little bit of a mentor because I'm very new in the independent media company trying to save Indiana. And every time I ask him a question, even though I know he's very busy, he makes time and he answers. And he gives me some of his wisdom. So I just want to tell Gary, thank you for doing that. And it's so neat to meet you. And I've met you a little bit through Gary, and I'm just like, I really like his wife. She's really wonderful. So it meant a lot to me that you wanted to be on the show. So I don't know a ton about you. Can you just tell me, a little bit about yourself, what you've been doing, and why you're running for State House, just a tiny about, nothing big.
Right. I was born and raised in Warren County, Indiana, over by Lafayette. So it's over in that area. Pine Village. It's a very little town. It has about 300 people. And I did not even live in the town. I lived on a long dirt road outside of the town. But I went to Seeger High School. I went to school at Indiana State University. And I began working. I was a stay-at-home mom for about 12 years. And then I began working at Indiana Family and Social Services through their vendors and worked my way up there into management. And I worked at the fraud department for food stamp. I investigated food stamp fraud and Medicaid fraud and a little bit of TANF.
What's that last thing you just said? TANF?
Cash assistance. Cash assistance, so EBT cards. I love that job. I worked there for, I was in fraud for probably 7-8 years of my 10 years with Family and Social Services. And then we got a new vendor, and they kind of came in and cut everyone's pay. And the pay they were cutting mine to just was not okay with me. So then I actually got into state management and went and worked on the state side of it. And so then I was kind of processing and approving food stamp applications and reviewing food stamp applications.
And was that a job, like who paid the paycheck? Was that Indiana tax dollars? Was this a company?
It's a little bit of Indiana tax dollars, the vendor, and federal tax dollars.
So everybody's pay was cut. And then you couldn't afford to work that job anymore, basically.
Right. So I went into it was a promotion, but it was through the state side instead. So I was a state employee at that point instead of employed with their vendor. And so that job probably taught me a lot about people struggling. It probably changed a lot of my perspective on how food stamps work, who's getting them, who needs them. I have lots of ideas about how you can change things to make things better. And one of those is staffing. I mean, these agencies are understaffed 90% of the time. And what happens when they're understaffed is, food stamp applications, they back up, and then pretty soon they're telling you, push these through, push them through, just push them through, get them approved, because you have to meet federal deadlines for those food stamp applications. And so what happens then is that's when you get a lot of mistakes, and that's when you get a lot of fraud that someone isn't catching before those.
It's interesting. It's interesting
approved.
because that's like on our side where we're at in Indiana, it's super majority Republicans, and there's a lot of blaming on the people that need the food stamps, like blaming them. And you're saying if we properly funded this program, we could find fraud better, and then we could help those that need it better, so that we're not so it's like they're the problem, and they're not saying we could be doing a better job. They're just like victim blaming. So it's really interesting.
Complain about food stamp fraud all the time, but they're just not properly staffed.
So if they had more people, you could track it more. And it does seem like you're very well qualified to run for State House. I hope you win, because it seems like you understand the problems in government. Like there's so many problems. We don't have enough accountability. We don't have enough transparency. We don't have enough intelligent people in the room wanting to fix the problems. It's just like we have people in the room that want to make the problems worse and then blame everybody else for making them worse,
Right.
So can you elaborate on, I've never needed food stamps. I've been poor before, but I've always had a safety net. I've always had my parents. They will back me out if I need them. Can you elaborate on what you learned about people that need food stamps? Because there's a lot of judgment that goes in to these people.
They're typically not always poor. I mean, food stamps, a lot of times, half the country has been on food stamps at one point.
Wow.
Or not just food stamps, but Medicaid, social services in general. They've used them. Generally, people lose jobs. And at that point, whether they're fired or they get laid off or, shutdowns, whatever, they lose jobs, they lose pay, they apply for food stamps, they get on food stamps, they're on food stamps until they get a better job. And then they're back in the workforce. And then it's a safety net. It's a way to some way to feed your kids when something horrible happens. And that's generally the majority of people that use food stamps. Yeah, you're gonna have people that are, they grew up on food stamps and that's all they know, and they think the only way that they should have to get food is with food stamps, and that any other money they have should not be used.
How many people do you think it is? It's a tiny amount. That's what I thought. It was a tiny amount of people. And you know what? I am okay with a tiny amount of people whose lives are hard that are just depending on that. When you look at the amount of billionaires that barely pay anything in taxes, nobody needs to be a billionaire. We cannot even fathom how much money that is. Nobody needs to be a billionaire. So if we're going to let them not pay their fair share in taxes, we got to also allow that occasionally somebody uses food stamps that maybe didn't need to.
And I don't necessarily have a problem with people being billionaires so much as their employees having to use food stamps. If you're a billionaire and you are employing people, they should not have to use food stamps. They should make enough to live on. There's absolutely no reason for all that money to be hoarded when you've got staff who are struggling to feed their kids. Walmart.
And when these companies work so hard to not let them unionize. So Walmart and Amazon being a couple I'm thinking of, they go to Walmart, they go to a lot of extremes to stop a union from forming in a Walmart. Yet
they spend a lot of money.
Have billions of dollars. And so, I just feel like that's when government should come in and say, let's at least tax them their fair share, and let's fund the food stamp program properly so we can catch fraud, and let's actually help the people that need help. Like,
Right.
I'm just so tired of the people that we elect tearing up government, because that's
Right.
what's happened in Indiana. We elect people and they cry, look how bad this program is doing. We're going to defund it more. And it's like, no,
Right.
you're the reason it's bad. You're
Right.
hurting it. Stop hurting it.
Exactly.
So, what state house are you? What's your number? What's your district number?
District 50.
And
So
where is that?
that covers Huntington, Wabash, Amboy. Yeah, Huntington, Wabash counties, basically. All the way up to North Manchester. So it's kind of a weird district, but
Is it gerrymandered? Is it rural? Because mine's really gerrymandered to be very rural.
it's very rural, but it's got an interesting shape.
Yeah. Mine does too. I'm in District 70 in southern Indiana, and it's the rural district down here. It's like they've carved it out. Like they carved out, we had a little town of Georgetown. They carved that out, so it's not in there anymore. We had Sellersburg, which is a decent amount of people. They carved that out. It used to be in my district, and now it's not. So it's extremely difficult for a Democrat to win. It also makes it hard for a Democrat to want to run in it, because it's so hard. And I'm like, I don't care. I will try to help increase voter turnout. So how do you feel about your race? Why did you do this? Because I'm not going to say it's like super hard to run for state house, but it's also not super easy. Like you got to do some work. You got to go to Indy. You got to fill out kind of confusing paperwork. You got to know about your economic interest form and stuff like that. So yeah, what made you want to do this?
What made me want to do that is just, I know our president has said affordability is not an issue, but yet they're going to focus on it. Affordability is a big issue, and it's one of the biggest reasons I decided to run. We have had one party rule in the state of Indiana for 20 years. And everything that has occurred in this state is because of that one party and what they have done. Your high taxes, your gas tax, your affordability issues are because of policies from that one party rule. And there has been no checks and balances. There has been, I mean, we have a legislature right now that tried to redistrict us just to appease a man who thinks he's a king. And we need people that are going to look out for Hoosiers instead of do the bidding of a president. It's not a state government's role to do whatever the president wants you to do. Your role is to look out for your residents, your state.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing that. It's kind of a clear-cut picture in Indiana. The supermajority has caused all Hoosiers to not be listened to anymore. We do not have a voice, whether you are Republican, Democrat, Independent, Libertarian. You do not have a voice in this state because they are being told what to do and they're just blindly following it. Now, we stopped redistricting, which was huge. There were enough Republicans to stand up and say no, and I'm thankful to every single one of them. But that should show us maybe we should not give all the power to this party. Maybe we should make this Indiana a little bit more balanced, have some competition. Competition is good. And maybe we should pick the person, not the party. And we have straight voter ticket ballot voting here. I think we're 1 in 6 states that do that in the country. I hope that that gets taken down. I've heard that there was a bill. I don't know how far it is in the state house right now, but that would be great if people had to individually go and look at the person. That would help. But it's really easy to check. Is the Republican in your area that represents you, are they blindly following Republican Party lines and just doing what they're told? Or do they vote no? Do they vote the right way for actual Hoosiers? And so I just encourage everybody to just look it up, to just Google it. So who are you?
Yeah, Larissa, and she is basically she's QAnon pretty much. She is doing the bidding of Donald Trump, and that's her whole purpose. I believe is to get in there and do whatever he wants her to do, and his whole campaign, I believe his whole presidency is focused on revenge. And he wants these states to do whatever he wants them to do so that he can get his revenge on whoever he needs to get revenge on. I find it appalling. It's just absolutely insane how we've gotten to this point. And I sat around and I complained, and I'm like, this is crazy. But when you can't just sit there, you got to get up and you got to try to do something. And even, my district is 75-25. That's how much she's won by. So it's a hard district for anyone that's not Republican to win.
Yeah. And it's so spread out and rural, it's very hard for you to get out and like door knock all those 65,000 people or whatever.
Right. Yeah. And so we're going to be out there, and we're going to be making noise, and we're going to get my name out there, and hopefully we have a different outcome this time.
I love your first name. I love Pepper. That's a great name. I just think it's adorable. Yeah, so I'm really excited that you stepped up and ran. And it's not just about winning. Like, me and you are running state house races that are very rural. I think I got 27% of the vote in the last election. I ran last time, but I got on the ballot late. And I'm running again. I have a primary challenger. I just found that out like an hour and a half ago. So that's interesting. And it's not about winning. If we can help motivate people in our district to come out and vote who weren't going to vote before they met us, we increase voter turnout in Indiana, and we can get bigger things elected. Is that one of the reasons you stepped up?
It's one of the reasons. I am focused on winning. However, I think that we're in an interesting time. We've seen what happened with the previous elections just recently, with Democrats taking over areas that have been in Republican control for decades. And I think that Hoosiers, if you want something different, now's the time to step up and try to get it. I think we have a good shot of winning. I'm not a progressive. I'm not. I'm very moderate. I think I'm a lot like a lot of Hoosiers who are they're not blue, they're not red, they're very purple. They agree with Republicans on some things. They agree with Democrats on some things. They think that government should be able to work together. And that's what I'm coming from. And I really hope to bring, Indiana back to that, where Republicans and Democrats can work together, and to make the state better, not just for corporations, but for people. People are struggling right now. The utility bills are insane. We had Democrats introduce amendments to exempt us from the same 7% exemption that the data centers are getting.
I saw that.
And so, they're going to use up all the electricity, all the water, but they're not going to pay for it. We are. And you're seeing our electric bills start to skyrocket. And I've talked to someone whose electric bill went from about $120 up to almost $900.
Wow. Yeah, data centers is a big thing happening in Indiana.
And it's the delivery fees that are insane.
Yeah. And the data centers, if you get a data center in your county, it sucks up your electricity. Sometimes it sucks up the water, like your water pressure might change. It pollutes your air and your water, and it doesn't provide a lot of jobs. So that's it's not going to provide jobs. And then they get all these tax incentives. And so to pay for the data centers, the consumer, the other people in that county are going to have to pay. And the state house just a few years ago changed the law. They made a law that had a loophole in it that made it so energy companies get to set their own prices, and the government gave up their right to govern these energy companies. And not everybody is as lucky to have an energy company like REMC. My parents have REMC. That's a really local company, and their board are moral people, and they keep prices down. I have Duke. Duke Energy is not doing that. They are letting prices rise. And so
And
That's why
that's
our bills keep
another
going
thing
up.
that Democrats tried to do is they introduced an amendment to keep that increase, those rate increases under 3%, and that was voted down too. It's
And I know
just
why. You know why,
right.
Pepper? Because the lobbyists, the
Mhm,
energy company lobbyists have lots of money. They donate to these Republican candidates and they wine and dine them. And then they actually end up helping to write the bills with the loopholes in them. And then they
mhm,
hand them to the legislators and the state house and state senate people get them passed, and then
right,
Governor Braun just signs it right in. So we kind of have to be aware of why this is happening.
right.
And what was upsetting to me, Pepper, because I looked it up on opensecrets.org. You can look up campaign donations. It's not that much money.
Mhm,
It's like Gary Burns getting like, I don't know, it was like around $1,000 from an
yeah,
energy lobbyist, and he's just letting all of our energy bills go up. It's like,
right.
and that was
It
upsetting
makes
because I thought it was going to be
absolutely
big
no sense.
money.
It
Yeah.
makes absolutely no sense. If data centers don't have to pay 7%, we shouldn't have to pay 7%. They're going to use far more than we use. Um, it just boggles my mind. It's a clear example of government caring about corporations over its own citizens.
Yeah.
And somebody's got to do something. And right now there's nobody in there that's going to stop them. We have to vote
And
more people.
we don't even have to get the majority of Democrats elected into Indiana to do good. We just
Mhm.
need to stop the super majority. We need to get like
Right,
4 or 5 Democrats in there out of 100. There's 100 state house people.
right.
You're 50, you're running 50, I'm running for 70. So if we can just get 4 or 5 more in there, we can help say no to the super majority, and that will take away some of their bully power. So
Right.
I am extremely hopeful that that's going to happen. And you're right in saying we both could possibly win this race
Hmm.
because this is an unprecedented time. The whole
Right.
country is hurting. Many Republicans are hurting. Affordability, groceries too high, energy bills, our public schools are being defunded. We're feeling it. We're feeling the hurt. And we're like, well, I'm going to vote the other way to
Hmm.
say no to this. And that could happen. Also, Trump won't be on the ballot. It's not going to be a presidential race. So people that really want to vote come out to vote. And sometimes those voters are a little bit more informed. And so you're right. It will be interesting to see. I'm very hopeful.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
hopeful. I'm very hopeful, and I think we have a great shot. And I can't say it enough. If you're sick of this, now's the time. Get out there and run for something, anything.
We have a week and a day to file to get on the primary.
Yep.
We got till February 6th at noon, you all. If you want to help Pepper, if you want to help me, if you want to help whoever is running for state house and state senate in your area, just filing to run for either like township advisory board
Hmm.
member, that's a very little job, or township trustee, which is a part-time job. If you just get your name on the ballot, tell your friends and family you're running, and you encourage voter turnout, that
Right.
can help save the state. It's like a small thing instead of just like doom scrolling and being worried about democracy in the state of the country. Get yourself
Right.
on that ballot. And how do you do it? Literally just contact your county clerk's office or just go there
Hmm.
Monday through Friday 9 to 5 and ask questions, find out what's open.
Hmm.
And the thing that is a little bit of gatekeeping, which you probably know about this, if you didn't vote Dem or Republican, let's say you want to run as a Republican, if you didn't vote Democrat the last 2 primaries and you want to run as a Democrat, or you didn't vote Republican in the last 2 primaries and you want to run as
Right.
Republican, you'll have to get the chair of your party to sign a letter to allow you to.
Yeah.
So that's where there's some gatekeeping in there. I don't know why we have a really good chair,
Yeah.
Cheryl
We have a
Lone in
great chair.
Harrison County, and she's been writing letters and talking to people and working and making
Yeah.
sure that they're somebody that cares about the community.
There are
What
a
about you?
lot of people who are frustrated with parties that they have been voting for, and they are coming to the Democrats, and a lot of the chairs are very open to them. And so I would encourage them to call the chair and just have a conversation.
Yep, that's what I say too. It's just a phone call. And
Yeah.
sometimes I'll do it, and then I'll just tell Cheryl, I'll talk to this person. She's great, he's great, and then she'll write the letter, or you can, yeah. So I encourage everybody to do that
The worst
because
that
we
can
need it.
happen is you lose and you
Yeah,
go back to,
and you'll be
you know,
fine. I've
You'll
lost
be
2
fine.
races already. I'm fine. I'm
Right.
actually more than fine. I actually learned a lot about myself, and I became a much stronger person by going through those experiences. Like
Mhm.
it it changed me in a way I'm very thankful for.
Right.
Yeah. So it's okay to put your name on a ballot and then you don't win. That's okay. You're going to survive it, but you're going to increase voter turnout.
Right.
So that is extremely important. I want to talk a little bit about you're saying you're a moderate. I'm going to say I'm pretty progressive, but
Mhm.
where I'm different is I will work with anybody. So I
Mhm.
will talk to all Republicans and explain my feelings. I'll also learn. Like I don't
Right.
know about farm stuff.
Right.
Like I'm not going to come in and act like I know everything about farming. I'm going to listen to farmers, and then
Right.
if I ever made it into the state house, I would help make sure they were part of the conversation to make farm lives better. Because right now we know farmers are hurting.
Right.
Like, so I wanted you to touch on that because there's a lot of drama in Indiana politics.
Mhm.
Like so much drama. And girl, you and me and Gary and some other people, Bo by. I mean, there is drama. And I
Mhm.
want to get your take on it because I'm personally frustrated. I feel like we don't have to agree on 100% of everything to work together.
Right.
Yet, lot of bullying comments out there in the internet world. What's your take on this?
Well, I will tell you, I was raised in a very Republican family. In fact, I like to joke that I've come out to them as a Democrat.
That's
Um,
cute.
but I was raised in a very Republican family. Rush Limbaugh was on our radio daily. Um, I was raised in poverty, so I grew up finally kind of starting to think that I've have my family has voted a certain way forever, and it's gotten them nowhere. Um, I could not at that time bring myself to be a Democrat. I started having different views on foreign policy, which is what started me kind of down the road of questioning my political roots, I guess.
What
Um,
time period was this? Because I went Republican after 9/11 for a few years,
it's
and then Obama
probably
got me out of
around
it.
2013, and I I became a libertarian, and I actually have a funny story about my meeting at Washington, them meeting about that. But I became a libertarian, and I was a libertarian for several years. I wasn't part of the party until I decided to run for office, and I did run against Jim Banks as a libertarian. I started questioning a lot of the craziness that was in the Libertarian Party. Um, some crazy things that I did not agree with at all. One of those was age of consent laws. I mean, they were talking about ending age of consent laws, and I was like, whoa, wait just a minute. And it didn't stop there. It went, just kind of the MAGA wing of the Republican Party really took over the Libertarian Party. They
Interesting.
staged a coup pretty much. They took them over. Our chair invited Donald Trump to our convention, and he gave a speech. He had some jeers, but he also had a lot of cheering. Um,
Wow.
when our actual presidential candidate Chase Oliver got up to speak, most people had left.
Wow. I didn't
And
know this at all. This is interesting libertarian drama.
a lot of libertarian drama. A lot of things I see in the comments remind me of a lot of the drama that was going on at that point when the MAGA wing was taking over the Libertarian Party.
Huh.
Um, when they took it over, eventually we had our chair give a speech in front of the Russian flag. I had a huge problem with that.
Yeah.
Their immigration policy went completely right wing, and it was very liberal, very,
Well, you would
very.
think libertarian would be not a
They
lot of
were
rules on
almost open
immigration.
borders. A lot of them were. It's totally different now.
Huh.
The Indiana Libertarian Party is not a horrible party. They're run by great people. I have a lot of respect for them.
Yeah, I know some
Um,
people that run as
yeah,
libertarians that I'm friends with.
Yeah, Indiana, the National Party is probably the issue.
Huh.
Obviously, there's some crazy candidates in every party, and you're going to get that in Libertarian and Democrat. But what caused me to start changing from Libertarian to Democrat is that my job, being around people that relied on social services, and I could no longer come to the conclusion that those needed to be abolished because I really feel that those are necessary. You can't, and I actually gave a speech about this in the Libertarian Party in about 2015, I think, when they asked me to come and talk about how to get women to join the party, because women were not joining the Libertarian Party, partly because a lot of them did not believe we had the right to vote. Or should have the right to vote. But one of the things I pointed out is you can't you can't tell a single mom you're going to take away the one thing that's helping her keep her part-time job that pays next to nothing and feed her kids. You can't just and that caused kind of an uproar amongst a lot of people in that crowd. But I was still pushing forward. I was part of probably the Gary Johnson wing of the Libertarian Party. And once I took over, I just couldn't come to those same conclusions.
So you've been on quite a political journey. You went from Republican to Libertarian to now moderate Democrat.
Yeah. So I have different views about economics now. I have completely different views about social services.
Yeah, you seem to be very in support of, if people are hungry, if children are hungry, we should help feed them.
Right.
Right.
You cannot pull yourself up by your bootstraps if you don't have any boots.
I just encourage anybody that just judges a person that's struggling. I encourage you to help one person that's struggling, because I personally tried to help I've helped 3 different people try to just stay housed. And that's when I started getting more involved in government, because I'm like, no matter what I did, I couldn't get them out of their poverty situation, and it would take the government. The only way I could do it, and I was really disgusted, and I am every day, at how easy it is to take advantage of people that are struggling financially, because they don't have any power or any money for a lawyer. They don't have the social structure, the systems that like I have. I have a lot of powerful people and connections and lawyer friends and judges. I got all this at my disposal. They have none of that. And so people just rip them off. They'll do stuff like, do this day's of work and I'll give you $60 cash. They do the day's work, no cash. What are you going to do? Sue me? Ha ha ha. I mean, it happens to them all the time. And again, before you think that we shouldn't help people struggling, help a person struggling and see what it's like for them, because it really opened my eyes.
Definitely. And, I learned that a lot through my job. I really pull issues. I agree with Republicans on some issues. I agree with Democrats on the majority of issues. And I found that once the Democrat Party kind of took over with legalization of cannabis, that there was really no reason for me to stay in the Libertarian Party. I mean, that was the only thing holding me there. I'm a big proponent of legalizing cannabis. I do not smoke cannabis. I don't take gummies. I don't do any of that. My drug of choice is some wine and yoga. That's it. I don't think people should go to prison for that. And that's been such a big part of me politically. And that's something that once the Democrats took that over, and whether, there's a lot of them that don't support full legalization. You've got medical marijuana and all that. Once there just wasn't a reason for me to stay there anymore, because the Democrats had everything else I wanted, plus that big issue that was big to me.
I also do not think it should be, or should be decriminalized. Like, we shouldn't be arresting people for it.
There are four different things we can do besides putting people in prison and ruining their life.
And it's really hurt. Like, we know they went after the Black population for years, and it was a way to keep them suffering. And then we also know there's a lot of discriminative use of who gets in trouble for having pot. Like a well-off, wealthy person has it, it's overlooked. a poor black man has it, he gets arrested, he gets fined, he has to pay all these, and so there's a lot of just inequity involved with that. But I also am concerned with how strong marijuana is now.
Oh
And
yeah.
so I would like it to be regulated
Regulated.
medical, like I would like it to be regulated so that we protect people. I want
Right.
it to be safe. I want people to be allowed to have it. I don't want them to be criminalized for it, and I also want it to be safe. And I am a little bit worried about these products that people can buy, especially in states where it's legal, that it's harming us.
Or
But
in the
I
black
know that humans
market
do
when it's
stuff that harm us. I just, it's a
or in the
it's
black market when it's laced with fentanyl.
yes. Wouldn't it be nice if we didn't have to worry if it was within fentanyl that's killing so many
Right.
people? Yeah.
And then you've got the whole issue of the tax revenue that it can bring in. I mean, it's brought 4.4 billion in tax revenue in 2024 alone for all these
Wow.
states that
For the
have
states that
legalized.
legalize it, you get tons of
And
tax
so
money. Yeah,
when you
we
get
could use
into
that tax money.
issues,
Indiana's
and then
hurting.
right, when you get into these issues in Indiana where they start arguing about how to pay for things, well, that could be very helpful. And instead, all those tax dollars are going to Michigan or they're going to Ohio, Illinois, instead of staying here in Indiana. And that's insane. It's
Yeah.
absolutely insane.
Right. So it's a lot of money we could be putting to help
Right.
feed our children. We could fund the food stamp program better, with
Right.
that money. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I think you'll see a lot of libertarians coming to the Democrat Party
Yeah, I noticed
now.
that too. I do too. I see
And
that too.
I will, when I went to speak with Washington Dems, and getting back to my funny story, I had gotten up and spoke, and there was a gentleman sitting next to me, kind of scrolling on his phone. And all of a sudden, he tapped me on the arm and shoved his phone in my face. And it was an old article of me running as a libertarian. And he just says, "We'll talk about this after." I thought, oh my God, here it comes. And all he wanted to say was, I was a libertarian in 2016 too. Why did you break? And it was the exact same reasons. And so I think you're going to see a lot of libertarians coming into the Democrat Party. Some of them are going to have some pretty big disagreements on economics, but I'm just not that anymore.
I think we should be ready to open people up with open arms into the Democratic Party and say, join us. We have to stop this big bad authoritarian thing going on right now. And if the big bad authoritarian thing gets kind of pushed out of the Republican Party, which I hope it does, go back. Go back if you want. But we kind of need to work together. And what frustrates me is the people on our side that are so extreme, so far to the left, they're not opening their arms to people that might have voted for Trump last time, or maybe didn't vote last time, or weren't politically involved, because they're so big on, you have to agree with 100% of what I think, or we can't be friends. I got to attack you. And I'm very worried about that group harming Indiana's chances for change in this next election. How do you feel about that?
I've seen a lot of comments, and it drives me nuts to see someone who finally speaks out and says, I've had a change of mind about this. I'm not okay with what's happening. And it never fails. There's always someone in the comments telling them, it's too late, or, look what you've done.
This is your fault.
This doesn't change what you've already done. People grow and people mature and people learn. And life is learning. You learn and you change your mind on things, and you come to different conclusions based on your life experiences. And I think it's important that people understand that and welcome people and, help them learn instead of coming at them with the negative stuff.
Just because we know something doesn't mean they know it. Like, it's a big human fault.
Or they may know it a different way.
Right.
And
or
they
were
not have never thought about it. Right.
Right. They never thought about it the way we're seeing it. And just because we see our liberal news doesn't mean they're seeing that news. And so we have to have like an open mind to, why do they think these things that we think are wrong? Why do they think them, instead of just, you're a monster? It's, engaging in, where did you get to that place? And we kind of got to calm the crap down. It
Mhm,
just seems like, especially on the internet, we're so quick to anger. Just
mhm,
bam. Well, I'm pissed off. You said
mhm.
something and hurt my feelings, and I'm gonna type the mean thing back. And it's like, where? How in the world is that helping? Because it's just making more division. You know?
No, it is making division, and it's what happened in the Libertarian Party at the national level, and the party has collapsed at the
Huh.
national level. They have lost money, they've lost donors, they've lost people. They are a fraction of what they used to be, and it is because of all that. That was, you're not libertarian enough. You're not, whatever. You don't believe
The
this, so
extremism. So the
yeah,
Libertarian Party became too extreme.
yeah,
We see the Republican Party, those in power are either too extreme or they're following the extremism.
right.
And then it seems like some people on the Democratic side want to counteract their extremism with their own version, and
Hmm.
that does not work either. We need smart people that want to fix things, that can talk to people. This is
Hmm.
this is my big problem. People think every Republican is bad. These extreme Democrats think every Republican is bad. So when we're
Hmm.
saying, "Oh, they're just human beings, most people are good," they're
Hmm.
like, "Now Sarah's bad. Now Pepper's
Hmm.
bad because oh my
Hmm.
goodness, they said the thing." And so since they don't understand human beings, that
Right.
human beings are complex and can think lots of different things, and they don't understand the culture of growing up Republican and how hard it is to get out of that and to think
Hmm.
differently. They don't understand the actual way we get Indiana out of extremism. They don't get it.
And getting back to the Bobi thing, I'm a big supporter of Bobi. I do
Oh,
not
Bobi
make
is running for Secretary of State in
yes.
Indiana, you all. He's raised about almost $2 million so far in the race, and he has somebody running against him, Blythe Potter, who's raised, I
Mhm,
think, maybe $130,000, I
mhm,
think. And the progressives, the super far to the left, really like Blythe. And
mhm.
then people like me and you and Gary are more, we're like, I think Bo Bai is a good candidate, and he has like a lot more name recognition and everything, because his dad was governor and senator of Indiana, and his granddad was senator of Indiana. So the by name means something.
It
Yeah,
means something
so
to a lot of
there's a
people.
lot of drama between the Bo Bai people and the Blythe Potter people. That's what Pepper's saying. Okay, keep going.
And growing up as a Republican, even my Republican family members respected the buys. I did not hear them trashing them. That wasn't, they had a good deal of respect for them. I think that a lot of Hoosiers have a great deal of respect for the buys. Um, Bobi is his own person. He has raised more than the Republican candidate, and I know no one wants money in politics. We all agree with that. I think even Republicans want money out of politics. People are tired of the corporations and blah blah blah.
The lobbyists,
Everyone,
yeah, yeah, yeah. The dark money. We're tired of it.
you're going to be hard pressed to find someone that says, "Oh no, I love money in politics." But the fact of the matter is, the law. I mean, Evan Bayh tried to get money out of politics at one point, and the Republicans ruined that.
Huh, I
So,
didn't know that.
but Bobi, you cannot compete in the state of Indiana where there is money in politics, and there's going to be money thrown at your opponent left and right, and he's going to get a lot more. Diego Morales, he's going to get a lot more. He's a very corrupt individual. Um,
That's our current Secretary of State in Indiana, is Diego Morales. And it's
right,
very hard to vote in Indiana. We have voter suppression. We're one of the worst ranked when you rank 1 to
50th,
50 in the states. It depends on how you look at it. We're either 50th or like 49th in like
45.
voting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's bad. And they don't want people showing up to vote. We have to get someone in there whose goal is to get as many Hoosiers to vote as possible. And Bobi does not believe that non-citizens should vote. He has been very clear that only citizens of Indiana should vote in Indiana elections. Anyone that is running, until those laws are changed that get money out of politics, the very law that Evan Bayh tried to get in law,
Yeah.
legally, to get money out of politics, Republicans shot that down. Money's in politics. That's a fact.
I asked Bo. I had him on my show a few weeks ago. It was January 7th. And I asked him about dark money. And he admits it's a problem and he would like to help, but he needs money to get elected. We have to get this is the most important race in Indiana, is the Secretary of State race in November. If we can get Bo by, or if it's Blythe Potter, whoever's going to win the delegates in June 6th, if we can get a Democrat winning in this election, we can make it easier to vote in Indiana. We can start making Indiana purple. We can stop extremism. We can save our libraries. We can save our public schools. We can make our energy bills better. We can fix a bunch of problems. We're not going to fix it like this. It's not a snap our finger and it's fixed. Step one is to get a Democrat Secretary of State elected. When I heard Bo Bai was running, I didn't know him. Now I'm friends with him. I am extremely hopeful about this race. Okay, he's got money. He's a lawyer. He's the type of lawyer that goes after like fraud and like corporations and stuff. Similar to like what your knowledge is in a little bit, which is very useful if you're going to be in government, because we need to clean up the fraud. He said on day one, he wants to open an investigation to look into the Secretary of State and what's going on and clean up the fraud. That's needed. He's going to make it easier to vote. He's going to make it easier for us to vote, not harder. And also,
citizen-led ballots.
He's going to talk to the other side. He's going to talk to the Republicans in power, because in this next election, we're not going to fix everything and all of a sudden be majority Democrat. We're going to have to work with the majority Republicans. Well, he's going to work with them. And so I just want people to realize how important that is. So I'm really excited that we have this young person that has money, that has a famous name, that wants to use his privilege to help Indiana, help save Indiana. And so I'm struggling with the amount of negative comments that I'm getting from people that I consider my friends about this. I just don't get it. I try to explain it and I just get attacked like I'm a monster. And it's hard.
And Bo Bai has this amazing ability to bring people together. I know Republicans that are going to vote for him, Trump Republicans that are going to vote for him. They're excited about him. Democrats are excited about him. I know some really, far left progressives that are also excited about voting for him.
Yep, me too.
He brings people together, and he's going to need that bipartisan support to win. Anyone that runs in that office is going to need.
We're going to need a bunch of Republicans to vote Democrat for Secretary of State in this election. My husband brought up a good point about the money, because the Blythe Potter campaign people are really attacking who's donating to Bo. And my husband's like, isn't it a good thing that Republicans are donating to him? Doesn't that mean that they're wanting to come over and that they don't like what the Republican Party in Indiana looks like right now and they want to make it better? And again, that's that fundamental, they think all people that vote Republican are bad, so they can't possibly fathom that a person that used to be Republican or is Republican, but they're not happy with it, would donate to a Democrat. It's like that fundamental belief of these people are just evil is really causing this online drama. And I really think the majority of Hoosiers don't care. They just want affordability things. They just want to be able to afford to live their lives and to take care of their families. And so at the end of the day, I don't think most people care.
And I've had people, send messages saying, I really want to comment on this because I see, people just being crazy. But I'm scared to speak out, because then they're going to come out at me.
Oh man, I spoke out. And did you see, I have like 200 comments on my Facebook.
Yeah, it was a lot, but it was the same few people over and over again. And so, but people shout people down. And I think that's something that needs to change in politics, not just Hoosier politics, but politics in general. Is just this need to be 100% right. And there's no way possible that you could possibly be right in any way, shape, or form. And so I'm going to shout you down. I'm not going to let you talk. And it's my way or the highway.
Wait a second, Pepper. Are you saying that if you thought something and then learned new information, that you would change your opinion about something?
I know,
and
it's crazy.
Admit that you didn't understand it fully and that maybe you were wrong? Are you saying that you would grow as a person?
It's crazy.
Crazy. This is where I'm having problems, because these people that are going after me also do not admit, some of them just do not admit fault ever.
No.
And it's like a human problem. It's like, okay, you messed up. You either admit that you messed up and forgive yourself, say sorry to whoever you hurt, if you hurt anybody, and then grow, or it's like you get angrier and you get more hurt at the person that called you out or whatever. And I've seen a lot of that, and it's so mentally not healthy.
I think a lot of it is also this weird need for a lot of people to go viral, to be shared over and over again, to get a lot of likes. And I think that's a big problem.
I really agree with you. People, you got to go super extreme on both sides so that people will see your content, will give you likes, will comment on it. And I struggle with Project Next because I'm trying to not be that way. But how do I get people to see us? It's, so I call it out. That's one way I get attention. I call out the stupidness of it. But
Trump politics, I really think that Trump has kind of brought this country just to a head.
Well, Trump came at a time when we had 24-hour news and the internet was blowing up and we could comment on everything. And so it was just this storm of toxic.
It exploded.
Yeah, and it exploded at the right moment, because I don't think Trump would have won the presidency 30 years ago. People would have wrote about him in papers not favorable. It wouldn't have been the spin propaganda machine. It would have been a little, but they wouldn't have been able to control so many people, But our side gets controlled too. Pepper, the Dems on our side have propaganda. We're constantly scaring the absolute crap out of them. We're asking for more donations. We're saying, look what this person did. They're awful now. Donate $5 to my campaign. They're using scare tactics too, and I want to call that out. We're tired of being traumatized, you all. We're tired of it. The news is scary enough. We don't need
the majority of Hoosiers are very purple. I believe that 100%. And they can come together on so many more issues than they are apart on, that they disagree on. And I think it's important to realize that as we go through with any campaign. I mean, you're not out there to just win your party. You've got to be able to talk to other people. You've got to be able to have an understanding of where they're coming from and talk to them and have conversations instead of, no, this is what I believe. Your point is mute. And we have to come away from that. We agree on more than we disagree on.
I agree. If you just talk to your neighbors, you just talk to people in this community and find common ground, you're going to find out that we agree on the majority of things. And if we don't stop believing the fake things that we're being told, that all Republicans are evil and that all Democrats are evil, if we stop and we realize humans are human beings and we just get out there and talk to one another, we're not going to save the state. And we have to stop believing the extreme division online, because it's actually fabricated. It's actually lies that some of us are believing, and then we're putting it out there into the real world. But it's I promise it's not true. It's just most people are good. And also we're scared. We're scared, and being scared and being traumatized, we're not as good at calming the crap down. We're so high anxiety. We don't always make good decisions. We don't make good choices. So I always want people to just take a breath. But it's hard, because we're seeing people murdered. Our government's murdering people in Minneapolis. We're seeing this beautiful city at war. And it's hard for me to have good mental health while this is going on. And so I have compassion for the people that are yelling at us. I care about them. And I'm like, we have to all kind of have a conversation about anxiety and traumatizing people and trauma. And we all got to take a minute to calm down so that we can work together. And I feel like we're forgetting that step of calming down, and then we're just attacking the people that are on the same side.
And understand your constituents. If you're running
actual voters, not just that's such
if you're running extreme left or in Indiana, you're probably not going to win. If you're running extreme right in, I don't know, San Francisco, you're probably not going to win. You have to look at your voting base. You have to look at issues that are important to them, and base your campaign off of those issues rather than, this, steel policy that you have in your head about how things should be, when, people in your area might not be to that point yet where they can't possibly agree with that. And, you really have to know your voting base. You can't go out there and demand a certain way when 90% of your state is hesitant.
And me, you, and like Gary, and like my husband, we're super
Mhm.
privileged in that we know what's going on in our state. We know the
Right.
laws. We know we have friends that are in the state house and the state
Mhm.
senate. Like we're super privileged. Gary makes money. Like it's part of his
Mhm.
job to know what's going on.
Right.
Not everybody in Indiana is that privileged.
Right.
They're working multiple jobs or working a really hard job and taking care of children or maybe taking care of a sick family member. They don't have time to research politics and
Mhm.
government. And we need to stop being judgmental about it and
Mhm.
realize that's our own privilege that we know extra stuff about our state government. And it
Mhm.
is our job, the people that know what's going on, it is our job to persuade those that don't know what's going on to
Right.
vote and to vote better
Mhm.
instead of blaming them. You
Right.
should know. You should have known the person you've been voting for has been hurting your
Mhm.
school. No, they don't know. So
Right.
let's get over that and let's persuade them and get them on our side, you
Mhm.
know?
If you're running a statewide campaign like Bobi, you've got to speak to all Hoosiers and not just your party.
You know what
And
Bo told me? He told me when I was complaining about the haters, the haters on hating on him. He refuses to say one negative thing
Mhm.
about them. And he
Mhm.
said, once we win this delegate race, we are welcoming them with open arms.
Right.
We are welcoming them. And I thought that was really beautiful. And I need to make sure I am like that always. I need to
Right.
learn from his wisdom to be loving. It's okay that you were mad at me about such and such thing. I don't care. I care about you. Come on over and let's save Indiana. And I thought that was really wise of this man that's 30.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
how can
definitely.
how can people meet you if you're in the area? How can people follow you, Pepper? And how can they help your race? What can you tell us we can do to like learn more about you?
We are on all social media platforms. We probably won't do a lot on Twitter or
I
X
don't do
just
Twitter.
because
But do you
90% of
mean
it is
we? Do you mean your
my
husband? Do you mean
campaign.
you, your campaign?
Um,
And what's your campaign called?
People for Pepper.
People for
And
Pepper. That's cute.
yes, so we have a website. We have, all the social media. We're in
You
the
have an
process.
email.
Yeah.
You're Pepper at peopleforpepper.com.
Yes, Pepper at People for Pepper. And we are working on getting our donations set up so that we can start getting some donations. We will be getting signs and t-shirts. We've already had a few requests for signs. Um, I was not prepared for that, but I've gotten a lot of phone calls. I'm going to actually be doing a lot of meeting with different, people and organizations. I'm going to be taking some tours. I know I'm going to do White's facility in Wabash, which is a facility that helps troubled boys, I believe. It may be girls too. I'm not sure. I don't know a lot about White's, but I hope to learn a lot about
You're
them.
open to learn, which
Yeah.
is that's what we
And
need.
so
You just need to be open to learn.
excited about that. Learning more about that program and what their needs are and things like that. So I hope to be doing a lot more of that. I will be going to different uh, county meetings. I will also be doing a lot of door knocking, interviews whenever I can, even when I'm really nervous, like I have been this
You've
whole
been
time.
doing such a wonderful job. I'm so proud of you, girl. I was so excited about this interview
But
because I like you so much. I just didn't know a lot about you. So this has been really wonderful.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
good
So you're
morning,
getting
there.
out there, you're meeting
Right,
people in your community. Pepper, Pepper for people. Is that what you said?
people for Pepper.
People for
Yep.
Pepper. People first. People for Pepper
Yeah.
on social media. So I will tag this episode. If you want to help, please share this episode. Please share
Mhm.
Project Next. Please invite your friends on Facebook to follow Project Next. That helps us so much. We're also a Substack. You can get emails about our shows. Just go to projectnextindiana.com and sign up. Put your email in there. And I'm really thankful that you came on. I want to have Gary on in a little bit because I want to get a little bit behind the Indiana political Democrat behind the scenes to who's the man, why is he doing this?
Mhm.
I want to ask him questions. He's asked me questions before, but I
Yeah.
want to ask him questions. So I'm going to get him on Project Next if there is a day where my kids go back to school. While we were doing this episode, I got a notification that my kids are having another snow day e-learning tomorrow. So a little bit harder for me to do Project Next stuff, you guys. I am enjoying getting to be with my children extra, my little cuties.
Right.
But yeah, but thank you for all of your work. It really sounds like you're extremely qualified. I love the work. That's so interesting that you worked
Mhm.
with like behind the scenes with food stamps and with really seeing the
Right.
benefit of helping people in need, helping children get food and just like keeping them housed. That's safer for the community. That helps everybody.
Mhm.
And that's interesting that we need more people in there to weed out the fraud. I had
Mhm.
never even heard of that before. So
Yeah.
yeah.
They're
Yeah.
still investigating fraud cases from years ago. They need
Uh,
staff.
They could investigate fraud cases at the state level with
Right, right, right.
our elected officials. We got some stuff we know about. They're proven facts. Yeah.
Right.
Um, so yeah, and then again, contact your clerk's office, contact the chair of your party or Facebook message your county party to run for something. That's a big
Mhm.
way you can help the state. Indiana needs it. And like, I don't know if you know this, I don't know, but like 20 years ago, and like when I first started teaching, like 25 years ago, we really did a good job supporting public education and
Mhm.
things were running pretty well and we were kind of a purple state and we've
Mhm.
lost that and we need to
Yeah.
get back and it will take a few years but it's not like not possible. It's very possible to
Oh,
make
I believe
Indiana
it is.
better.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
also we know you and I and Gary, we know thousands of people that are working to make Indiana better. I'm really proud of all the organizing happening. We're
Mhm.
getting there.
Right.
We just got to win elections.
But anyone, if you want to help my campaign, Republican, fed up Republicans, Democrats, fed up
Libertarians.
Libertarians,
The tiny few that are left.
yeah, have a conversation.
Independents.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm gonna announce this with you. I'm running as an independent Democrat.
Mhm.
I'll be on the ticket as a D, but I don't listen to my party. I listen to the people. And I feel
Right.
like that's what you're doing too. You are
Yeah.
listening to the people. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I adore you. Consider me a friend. Text or call. Let me know if you want to come back on or if there's a
Okay.
specific issue we could talk about. And give your husband a hug for me and kiss those
Okay.
cute Great Danes. I wish I could play with them. I love Great Danes.
Oh
You
my
have a
gosh.
puppy, right? Puppy
We
Great
have a
Dane?
we have a puppy Great Dane. Yeah, he's a terrorist. Yeah.
I just wanna babysit for, like, an hour, puppy sit, and then give them back.
He will he will give you a run for your money, that's for sure.
That's so cute. Thank you so much, you did a wonderful job. Are
All
you
right, thank
so
you.
you can do this, do 1,000 interviews, you're gonna be amazing in all of them, and, it's wonderful to see a strong woman get up there and fight for this state, so thank you for joining the fight, and, hugs and love to you, and you can do this,
And
girl.
thank you. Yeah. All right.
Bye, everybody, have a wonderful day,
Bye.
stay warm.